Thank you for joining us for episode number 4 of Going Places. Today, I am here with my dear friend and colleague, Wendy Bohon.
Hi, everybody. I am Dr. Wendy Bohon from the Incorporated Research Institutions for Seismology. Thanks for having me, Beth.
Yay!
Okay, so I am going to take you today to one of my very favorite places in the world. So right now we're looking at the South American plate over here, and this is the Nazca plate. The Nazca plate is actually diving down underneath the South American plate, which is what's creating the Andes Mountains. So let's zoom in and look at some of these mountain building processes in greater detail. So we're going to go to Argentina, near Mendoza. So Mendoza is one of my favorite cities. It's amazing, great food, great wine, great people. I love it. But look at all of the different topography that we see across this region. So these are the Andes Mountains over here. These are the Sierra Pampeanas Mountains over here. And then we have the Precordillera in this area. And so this area in here is what I like to think of as the baby mountain nursery. This is where new mountains are being built along different fault systems. And one of the coolest little things I want to show you, the world is just so full of interesting things. I'm going to zoom out a little more. There's a series of faults in here. One is down here, there's one right here, and there's one over here. These are called blind thrust faults. And this is where you have two blocks of rocks that are getting squeezed together and making a fault where one block is getting pushed up over the other, but it doesn't actually come to the surface. That's why it's called blind. We can see these faults really well in this location because there's not a lot of vegetation. So let's zoom in to this cool little thing right here. Look at this guy. This is called the Montecito anticline. So underneath this little structure is a blind thrust fault. And I studied this structure in order to figure out how fast that fault is moving and deforming or changing the ground over top of it. And so we can get a lot of clues to that based on how windy or sinuous the rivers are and how we can tell how they've changed through time. And we can look at a series of terraces that have formed in this area, and we dated those terraces in order to figure out how fast this was lifting up and about how often there were earthquakes here. So you can see over here, this little meander went this way, but it got cut off, and there's a waterfall right there. There was when there was water flowing. Again, this is a desert area, and so there's not a lot of water, but this little guy is growing every day. And what we found out was that it started growing faster in the last 2,000 years. And so that means that the people in the Mendoza area need to be thinking very carefully about earthquake hazards. This is only one tiny little fault. There's lots of other fault systems around here, and any of those fault systems can cause shaking. And in fact, the city of Mendoza was destroyed by a magnitude 7 earthquake in 1861. So again, we don't need to be scared of earthquakes, but we do need to be prepared. And it is so fascinating to go and look at all of the different landforms that these faults could make. I'll just show you a couple of pictures from when I was there. Excuse me, my desktop. So remember I was talking about those terraces? These are those terraces in those different colors. So those are terraces that were made as the anticline lifted up and the river was cutting down. You can see our tents right here. And this is showing how far above the current river each one of those terraces is located. This is just more stuff about the rocks. This is the geologic map of that area. Here's me. Aren't I cute in all my field gear? Yeah, that wasn't smart. I got a sunburn on my stomach. This is that little waterfall that is only a waterfall when the water is flowing, but you can tell there's some significant relief there. And this is what it looks like on top of one of those terraces. And then you can see the Andes Mountains here in the background. So that's one of my very favorite places on Earth. And I just wanted to thank you for letting me take you there and relive some of those super fun memories.
Yay! Thanks, Wendy.
Yay! Sure. See you soon, Beth.